coming your way. And I wanted to speak some truth. This is another video. I'm going to start trying to do more of these. And I thought about something that I kind of always knew this, but I never actually said this. Me being a big music head, being a producer myself, record producer, music producer, most of my life since I was a teenager, in and out of recording studios, writing some songs, and for lots of different artists, and even for myself. Quincy Jones was always a guy who I always respected, who was a hit maker, who did Thriller. That's the biggest thing he ever did. He worked with Prince. Too many people to name. I mean, you name him, he worked with him. The greatest record producer of all time. Just so good at taking a cake, baking a cake, and making it great. Taking all the pieces and putting them together and finding the best out of people. When it comes to pro wrestling, there's nobody in this world that's closer to that than Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is a genius. I mean, he is like a magician when it comes to the performance that he gets out of wrestlers, the quality of guys that he works with. He could take a guy who's really talented but don't have no direction, get behind him for about a year, and turn him millions of dollars, top dollar making superstar. That's just obvious. Like, he's just, I don't think he gets as much credit as he should. Oh yeah, I've been talking about wrestling. I just don't do it all the time. Yeah, Paul Heyman is the guy is a genius, man. I mean, look in the most recent things. Look what he's done for Roman Reigns, like whose career was pretty much over. I mean, the fan response to it. Like, I love Joe Anoa'i, the guy that plays the character Roman Reigns. I love his work in the ring, but he just didn't have no character, no direction. And Paul took that dude. I'm not saying that they don't do things, but at the end of the day, Paul, you got to listen to the guy. Like, you can tell which guys work with Paul Heyman and which guys don't, and where their career goes. And made to the point to where John Cena has made the argument that he believes that Roman Reigns is dope, And let's see. I mean, I'll talk about Vince McMahon on another show, on another video. But Paul Heyman, like, he didn't have the dollars, the backing dollars, all that stuff that Vince McMahon had. Yes, as an organization, WWE was better than ECW ever was. But when you talk about a manager, like when you get Paul Heyman, you don't not only get a manager, a guy who can talk you up like you the greatest thing since sliced bread, who could just make you look like a million. I'm talking about all the way back to when he was young with like the Dangerous Alliance and all this stuff, man, back in the day. He just always been that man. It's just like his reputation is impeccable. When he got the Hall of Famer last year at WrestleMania, I was just like, wow, nobody more deserving than this guy. For all the superstars he made, you think about all the guys that he made, they are to him. They're still loyal to him. You talking about this guy made all these guys great. The Dudley Boys, let's see, Tommy Dreamer, there's so many of them. Who else did he work with at ECW? All these great guys that he brought in. Everybody was pretty much done. Remember Raven, all those guys. He just made so many stars. Perry Saturn. He just did stuff that nobody really. Of course, CM Punk. From there all the way over to, over to WWE and all this. Yeah, Bobby Brain Heenan was great too. I think he's my as far as managers. But as far as like who created these, like Paul Heyman knows how to write. He writes storylines. A lot of the stuff now, like all that bloodline stuff, he wrote all that. Like Paul Heyman, like writes stories. Like he is like a guy that works behind the scenes, and on camera, and like he recognizes like what's great and how to take guys and make them great. Yeah, oh yeah. That's the whole point. You're supposed to work with great talent. That's the thing. What a great producer, which he is. Like I say, he's a Quincy Jones of wrestling. Quincy Jones Michael Jackson already had talent. Madonna, all the people he worked with, they're talent. It's just Quincy Jones took those talented artists and made them great. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis is another example. You know, guys that just know how to take something. Put it this way, Paul Heyman will take exceptional talent. Great. There's so many guys that's eating and feeding their families because of Paul Heyman, man. Like so many guys, man. And the funny thing about it is he plays this cocky, arrogant prick on TV. But the truth of the matter is, he's from New York, so he has that personality. Paul Heyman is actually a really, really humble guy, man. Like, he will be the first guy to not really take as much credit for things. He just do a lot of things. And I've heard wrestlers say that the Paul Heyman does a lot of mentoring and things like that behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see. He just, man, the dude is just, he's incredible, man. He is the entire package. You look at the storyline writing, the manager. I've never seen a manager do what he does. Now, on camera, Jimmy Hart, Jim Cornette, Bobby Heenan is the number one guy. He is the GOAT. When it comes to, it is, oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he helped Roman Reigns get his creative freedom, all that stuff. When Roman Reigns came back, like, he was pretty much done. Like, because even people didn't even sympathize with him about cancer no more. They didn't want to hear cancer no more. They like, dude, Roman Reigns almost died from cancer, man. Like, they wouldn't even, they started booing him again. I'm like, come on, y'all, man. Show some respect. He comes back. Paul Heyman's like, let's make him a heel. Let's give him a little bit more direction. Let me get behind him. I'm sure he went to Vince McMahon like, hey, let's try this new direction. Matter of fact, I know he did because that Roman Reigns said that. And they just repackaged Roman Reigns and made him a tribal chief. But this, like, Paul Heyman is just like, he wins so much. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about Chris Benoit because of the way things went. Chris Benoit, you know, he was in the ECW before he even got to WCW. He was just so good. I think he had a hand in Chris Jericho, man. He just so many guys, man, he helped develop, man. He just a very humble guy, man. On TV, he's the cockiest guy in the world, you know. That conniving smile he got. But at the end of the day, if you go back and look at that Hall of Fame, that thing, it brought me to tears, dude. The emotion behind it, what he did with CM Punk on camera, you know, giving him his first ever WrestleMania match. It's just the way the emotion that goes into that. And it's just like, he's just the dude, man. When he's gone, when he retires, or you know, God forbid, down the road when he's physically gone from this earth, but I'm talking more about retirement. Like, there'll never be another one. The dude was he was a professional cake baker. Oh yeah. But because Paul Heyman gave Roman Reigns the courage of the Reigns that we all love. I'm gonna tell you the honest to God truth. When John did this heel turn, he should have, instead of going with The Rock, he should have went with Paul Heyman, man. You talking about, like, and I'm hearing some things. I'm gonna see if it comes to fruition, but they talking like Paul Heyman's going to start another heel faction. I heard CM part of the Dudley Boys. All his old ECW guys are gonna be involved, man. So I would not be surprised to see, like, what's next. But Heyman's not gonna put his hands in something if it's not fresh, if it's not ready, bringing something new, fresh, exciting.